Most people give up on a dream created for the New Year's resolution by January the 12th. Atomic Habits provides you with building blocks for attaining remarkable results by using tiny habits. It's a bestseller on the Wall Street Journal, USA Today, Publishers Weekly, Fast Company, and with Business Insider. It promises to be one of the best books to read in 2019. To find out what's so good, keep watching. Hello everyone, this is Murli here. I just finished reading the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, and I must say at the outset that it meets and exceeds its claim. The author shares his personal life experiences in the book. Reading this book provides me with the information that can accelerate my learning. I browsed through the book at the bookstore and I saw a series of one-liners that caught my attention. I was hooked. That's why I picked this up. One of the earlier stories in the book revolves around British cycling. I'm using that story to explain the key concepts that were outlined in the book. British cycling was at best mediocre, with one Olympic gold medal since 1908. No British cyclist had won a Tour de France. The reputation of British cycling was so bad that top European bicycle manufacturers refused to sell bikes to them. The British cycling governing body was really looking to change that, but they needed a miracle. One day in 2003, Dave Brailsford was hired by Britain's cycling governing body to be their new performance director. He had been involved with cycling throughout his career. Dave's strategy was a relentless commitment to marginal gains, and that strong belief he had when he took on the role. Dave's strategy of marginal gains involved a marginal improvement in every aspect of cycling. He looked for a 1% improvement in everything. Seats, rubbing alcohols onto tires for grip, wearing heated shorts for ideal muscle temperature, and using sensors to monitor athlete performance. He switched suits to make them lighter and aerodynamic. But he didn't stop there. He tested massage gels, hired a surgeon, determined the pillow and the mattress, painted the inside of the team truck to track white spots of dust that might hamper performance. Hundreds of changes were made to fine-tune performance. This led to several improvements during 2003 to 2007, which started yielding results. In fact, at the 2004 Olympic Games, they won 2 cycling gold medals. The team continued to improve over the years from the efforts that were put in. Between 2007 and 2017, they won 178 World Championships, 66 Olympic and Paralympic medals, and 5 Tour de France victories. But that was not before a set of new processes got instituted. They didn't see results immediately, but over time, the effects of the process started to compound since there were improvements in each one of the areas. A simple math formula will indicate that a 1% improvement per day translates into a 37 times improvement in a year. So, progress wasn't really linear. Initial results didn't show anything had happened. If you keep an ice cube on the table, as the temperature starts to rise, the ice cube stays intact for a short period of time, and then the shrinkage happens. That's the same principle on the valley of disappointment. Initially, when you start a new habit, you don't get immediate improvements. So there's a line which shows you what should happen. But what really happens is a slightly different trajectory. It's in that valley of disappointment, many people give up. Therefore, they don't see much progress. Every decision they took formed the seed of a habit. The seeds germinated and became full-fledged automated habits. The focus for Dave was on systems. As systems became successful, they created achievements. These were rewarded automatically. Every decision by itself was very small, looked invisible, and hence insignificant at the surface. Dave created a performance-driven culture. The culture was responsible for a certain identity. Cyclists, who were performance athletes, their identity was not to win a championship, but this was a daily fact of life. They sought improvements daily in every way for doing things. Hence, it was as deep-rooted as can be. Processes were created around that identity, and the identity became the catalyst for processes. As process benchmarks were achieved, they would be revised upwards and boundaries redefined once again. The improvements provided outcome that was rewarded. That reinforced the identity and the processes. So this became a cycle that the performance athlete associated himself with automatically. These processes and systems created habits that we call atomic habits to give you remarkable results. Continuing with the British cycling story, the whole success of British cycling involved 4 basic steps. The first step was centered around cue. When British cycling was struggling, the cue was very obvious. There was a desperate need to improve. So the craving was born from a British cycling governing body's perspective. Bring in fresh thoughts, they said. Failure for such a long period was certainly not helping. When Dave was inducted, his philosophy and approach came along with it. He was convinced that his idea of breaking down everything would work. His thinking was that to improve by 1%, he would need to look at all the necessary performance indicators. Those brought about actions to take or the response. Finally, as you can see in 2004 itself, 1 year from Dave's induction, the fortunes of British cycling started changing with 2 Olympic gold medals. While you look at the actions and the results, you should also pay attention to the cause. Obvious issues created the cue. Strong desire and culture created the reason to act. The philosophy of marginal gains created a habit tracking scorecard. A precise commitment created the response. And the compounding interests of improvements created the recognition that they really desire. Cue is the place where all habits initiate. Habits were made attractive and friends and family supported where needed. The data that Dave built gave the confidence to respond. Teams were allowed to walk slowly, but never backwards. And the team found ways of turning instant gratification into advantage. The whole thing integrated into a habit loop. It created a sense of continuous improvement, cue to reward, which is also the Japanese Kaizen system. Dave instituted a system of a habit scorecard that provided the basis of continuous tracking with desired improvements. Habit stacking worked as each athlete had to form a series of habits using seats, using tires, using different bike components, changing their clothing, using massage gels to provide relief, testing which one would provide the best relief, medical tests to test muscle fatigue, sensors were used in that process, a checking for moods, a surgeon who would take care of all illnesses, improve sleep, change your pillows and mattresses, even look at the dust that was in the van that was carting the bikes. Each one of this was a habit because there was something to do. By following through a single area of 1% improvement, it created some change. But by adding all the other areas and creating powerful habits, a system, and many adjustments, it created the effect of a compound interest. That compound interest gave the cycling body the results it desired. So you may ask, why were the teams committed to such a system? It was because they saw a method to the madness. Improvements gave them motivation. Sponsorships from Sky brought Team Sky to the forefront of recognition. The team's success went on to influence other sports bodies to try similar things. In short, success begets success. In many stories, we just narrate the ones that are obviously visible. The ones that are invisible tend to get missed out. The change of guard was also the beginning of a new environment. When Dave got on board, he created an environment for optimum performance. A new environment made building of new habits easier. Habits were initially pushed to the athletes in small doses. So these improvements were seen in baby steps. By tracking a habit, ensuring that you don't break the chain, you make sure that you adhere to it every day. In cycling terms, you could call that cadence. Once the habit was formed, it was unlikely to be forgotten. A celebration of a small win provides for the habit to become attractive. There's a significant attention to detail for capturing information as well. In all of this, you had to keep people accountable. But that wasn't anything new for high-performance athletes. Once you repeat a task a minimum number of times, the task becomes a habit and gets automated in the subconsciousness. Then it's difficult to dislodge the same from the team. The book doesn't specify a period of time it takes to create a habit. However, different studies have shown that it could take an average of 66 days to create a habit. The Goldilocks rule states that humans experience peak motivation when working on tasks that are right on the edge of their current abilities. By adding a small 5% to keep pushing the boundaries, you can have enough victories to keep yourself motivated. You continue to work hard. The greatest threat to success is not failure, but boredom. The process of mastery requires you to progress through layers of improvement. These are stacked, one on top of the other. Each habit building continues till you reach a new level of performance. And then the horizon just keeps expanding. So I gave the book a 4.5-star rating for a compelling read in 2019. Did you like the preview of the book? Have you read the book? Or are you planning to pick it up? Do comment below. Your love and support is what keeps this channel going. Please subscribe. Hit the bell icon. I post every week. On the screen, you will find links to my other videos. Do take a look. See you guys in another video and in another book review. Bye for now.